The year is 2560 BCE. You're standing in the Egyptian desert, watching thousands of workers move 2.5-ton limestone blocks up a structure that will stand for over 4,500 years. The Great Pyramid of Giza rises before you with mathematical precision so perfect that its base is level to within 2.1 centimeters. Modern engineers struggle to explain how this was achieved without lasers, computers, or even the wheel for transport. But here's what really keeps archaeologists awake at night. The three pyramids of Giza align perfectly with Orion's belt. Halfway across the world, the Mayans built pyramids using the exact same 51-degree angle. And in Peru, stones weighing 200 tons fit together so precisely that you can't slide a piece of paper between them. Coincidence? Ancient genius? Or did someone, or something, else show them how? Welcome back to History Rewritten. If you're fascinated by history's greatest mysteries, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into one of the most controversial questions in archaeology. Did extraterrestrial beings visit our ancestors? Make sure you're subscribed because we're examining evidence that mainstream historians don't want to talk about. And by the end of this video, you'll have all the facts to decide for yourself. For decades, researchers have pointed to ancient structures, artworks, and texts that seem to suggest our ancestors had help from above. From Egyptian hieroglyphs that appear to show helicopters and submarines, to Sanskrit texts describing flying machines called vimanas, the evidence is everywhere if you know where to look. Today, we're examining three competing theories. First, the Ancient Astronaut hypothesis, popularized by researchers like Erich von Däniken, which argues that aliens visited Earth and influenced early civilizations. Second, the alternative archaeology perspective that suggests advanced pre-Ice Age human civilizations possessed lost technologies. And third, the mainstream archaeological view that credits human ingenuity and thousands of years of cultural development. By the end, you'll understand the evidence for each theory and why this debate matters more than you might think. Let's set the stage. Between 4000 BCE and 1500 BCE, something remarkable happened across the globe. In Egypt, the pyramids rose from the desert. In Mesopotamia, the Sumerians developed writing, mathematics, and astronomy. In Central America, the Olmecs created massive stone heads weighing up to 50 tons. And in South America, cultures we're still discovering built cities at elevations that should have been impossible to sustain. Here's what makes this timeline fascinating. These civilizations had no known contact with each other, yet they share strikingly similar achievements. They all built pyramids. They all tracked celestial movements with incredible accuracy. They all created massive stone monuments that required engineering knowledge we're still trying to understand. The Egyptians knew the Earth's circumference within 1% accuracy 4,000 years ago. The Mayans calculated the length of a solar year to 365.2420 days, more accurate than the Julian calendar used in Europe until the 16th century. The Sumerians had detailed knowledge of all the planets in our solar system, including accurate descriptions of their colors and characteristics, which shouldn't have been visible to the naked eye. And then there are the construction feats. The Great Pyramid contains approximately 2.3 million stone blocks. If you worked 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, you'd need to place one block every 2 minutes for 20 years to complete it. The precision is equally baffling. The precision. The pyramid's sides are oriented to true north, with only 1/15 of a degree of error. At Puma Punku in Bolivia, stones weighing over 100 tons were transported to an altitude of 12,800 feet. then cut with such precision that they interlock like Lego blocks. The cuts are so smooth and uniform that they appear machine-made. Yet according to conventional history, the people who built this had only stone and copper tools. But here's where it gets interesting. When we examine the mythologies and ancient texts of these civilizations, a pattern emerges that's impossible to ignore. The Sumerians wrote about the Anunnaki, beings who came from the sky and gave them knowledge of agriculture, mathematics, and astronomy. The ancient Egyptians spoke of gods who descended from the stars. Hindu texts describe the Vimanas, flying machines capable of traveling to distant worlds. The Dogon tribe of Mali possessed detailed knowledge of the Sirius star system, including information about a companion star that wasn't discovered by modern astronomers until 1862. And then there's the artwork. In the Val Camonica of Italy, 10,000-year-old rock carvings depict figures that look remarkably like modern astronauts, complete with helmets and antennae. In Ecuador, pre-Columbian artifacts show figures in what appear to be spacesuits. Aboriginal Australian rock paintings, some over 5,000 years old, feature beings called the Wangina, with large heads, no mouths, and what looks like halos or helmets. So, what's really going on here? Let's examine the evidence. The Ancient Astronaut hypothesis argues that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth thousands of years ago and made contact with early human civilizations. Proponents believe these visitors were interpreted as gods, and that they shared advanced knowledge that jump-started human development. Let's look at their strongest evidence. First, there's the Nazca Lines in Peru. These massive geoglyphs, some stretching over 1,200 feet, are only fully visible from the air. They include perfectly straight lines, running for miles across mountains and valleys, geometric shapes, and detailed animal figures. Ancient astronaut theorists ask, why would a civilization create artwork that can only be appreciated from an altitude they supposedly couldn't reach? Then there's the Abydos helicopter hieroglyph in Egypt. In the Temple of Seti the Pharaoh, there's a carving that appears to show a helicopter, a submarine, and other modern aircraft. While skeptics offer explanations involving overlapping carvings, believers argue the resemblance is too specific to be accidental. The ancient texts provide even more intriguing evidence. The book of Ezekiel in the Bible describes a vision of a wheel within a wheel that comes down from the sky with fire and loud noises. NASA engineer Joseph Blumrich analyzed the description and concluded it matched the aerodynamics of a spacecraft. The Mahabharata, an ancient Sanskrit epic, describes weapons of mass destruction that sound remarkably like nuclear weapons, complete with descriptions of radiation sickness. Perhaps the most compelling physical evidence is the construction itself. At Baalbek in Lebanon, the foundation of the Roman temple contains 3 limestone blocks, called the trilithon, each weighing approximately 800 tons. A 4th block, still in the quarry, weighs an estimated 1,200 tons. Ancient astronaut proponents argue that moving stones of this size would be nearly impossible even with modern cranes and equipment. The theory suggests that extraterrestrial visitors, possessing anti-gravity or other advanced technologies, either moved these stones themselves or taught humans how to do it. This would explain why similar megalithic sites exist worldwide, from Easter Island to Stonehenge, all built during roughly the same period of human history. Believers also point to the sudden emergence of civilization itself. Humans existed for 200,000 years as hunter-gatherers, then suddenly, around 10,000 BCE, we see the rapid development of agriculture, writing, mathematics, and complex societies. Could extraterrestrial contact explain this sudden leap? So, What do you think so far? Is the ancient astronaut hypothesis convincing, or are there other explanations? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And here's a question for you. If aliens did visit ancient civilizations, why would they leave? Why not stay and continue guiding humanity? While you're thinking about that, if you enjoyed our video on the lost city of Atlantis, fact or fiction, you'll love where we're going next. But first, let's examine an alternative theory that doesn't require extraterrestrials at all. What if the answer isn't aliens, but us? A growing number of researchers, including author Graham Hancock, propose that an advanced human civilization existed before the end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago. This civilization possessed sophisticated knowledge that was passed down to later cultures after a global catastrophe nearly wiped them out. Here's where this theory gets interesting. During the Ice Age, sea levels were 400 feet lower than today. This means vast coastal areas where humans likely lived are now underwater. What if the cradles of ancient civilization are beneath the ocean? In 1987, divers discovered the Yonaguni Monument off the coast of Japan, a massive stone structure with what appear to be carved steps, terraces, and right angles. Geologist Robert Schoch estimates that if it's man-made, it could date back 10,000 years or more. Similar underwater structures have been found off the coast of India near Dwarka and in the Mediterranean near Alexandria. Then there's Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, which completely rewrote our understanding of ancient civilization. This massive temple complex, featuring intricately carved stone pillars arranged in circles, dates to 9,600 BCE. That's 6,000 years before Stonehenge and 7,000 years before the pyramids. The site suggests that complex architecture and organization existed far earlier than mainstream archaeology previously believed. But here's the twist. After building this incredible site, the builders deliberately buried it. Why? Some researchers believe it was to preserve knowledge through a cataclysmic event. Multiple ancient cultures have flood myths. The biblical flood, the Epic of Gilgamesh, Hindu texts, Native American legends, all describe a world-destroying deluge. Geological evidence shows that around 11,600 years ago, the Younger Dryas period ended abruptly with rapid climate change. Some scientists now believe this was caused by a comet impact or airburst that caused massive flooding, wildfires, and climate chaos. The lost civilization theory proposes that survivors of this advanced culture spread across the world, teaching their knowledge to primitive societies. This would explain why disparate cultures share similar pyramid designs, astronomical knowledge, and construction techniques. They weren't learning from aliens. They were learning from the survivors of a previous human civilization. Supporting this is the Piri Reis map from 1513, which appears to show Antarctica without ice, something that wouldn't have been possible to observe unless someone mapped it before the ice formed, over 6,000 years ago. The map is supposedly based on even more ancient source maps, suggesting someone with advanced maritime capabilities explored the world long before recorded history. This theory also explains the sudden emergence of the Sumerians around 4000 BCE. They appeared seemingly out of nowhere with fully formed writing, mathematics, and complex social structures. Rather than developing gradually, as we'd expect, they seemed to inherit knowledge from somewhere else. The astronomical alignments make sense, too. If a survivor civilization wanted to preserve their knowledge through dark ages, they'd encode it in monuments that could last millennia. The pyramids, Stonehenge, and other megalithic sites might be time capsules of information about celestial mechanics, mathematical principles, and engineering knowledge. Now let's hear from the skeptics. Mainstream archaeology offers a very different explanation. Human beings are far more capable than ancient astronaut theorists give them credit for. Given enough time, motivation, and manpower, our ancestors could achieve anything. Archaeologist Mark Lenner spent years studying the pyramids and concluded they were built using ramps, copper tools, and an enormous workforce. He points out that we've found workers' villages near the pyramids, payroll records written on papyrus, and even bakeries that fed the construction crews. These weren't slaves working under alien overseers, they were skilled Egyptian workers taking pride in a national project. Experimental archaeologists have successfully demonstrated that ancient construction methods work. In the 1990s, researchers moved a 40-ton stone using only wooden rollers, ropes, and a team of people. They carved limestone with copper tools hardened by arsenic. They even built a scale model of a pyramid using only the tools available to ancient Egyptians. As for the precision, archaeologists argue this proves patience, not extraterrestrial help. The Great Pyramid took 20 years to build. With that much time and a dedicated workforce, achieving near-perfect alignment is impressive, but not impossible. The Egyptians had sophisticated surveying tools, an understanding of geometry, and most importantly, a religious motivation to create perfection for their god-king pharaoh. The astronomical knowledge also has an earthly explanation. Ancient peoples watched the sky every night for thousands of years. Without light pollution, they saw celestial patterns we've forgotten. The Babylonians tracked planetary movements for centuries, creating astronomical records that modern scientists still reference. This knowledge accumulates generationally. The Dogon people's knowledge of Sirius? Anthropologists argue they learned it from European astronomers who visited the region in the 1920s, and their mythology was later embellished. The astronaut carvings? Most are stylized representations of humans, animals, or shamans in ceremonial dress. We see what we want to see. Even the Nazca Lines have a practical explanation. Archaeologist Johann Reinhard proposes they were part of ritual processions related to water and fertility. The lines point to water sources and mountains. The animal figures represent creatures important to their cosmology. They weren't built to be seen from space. They were walked by pilgrims in religious ceremonies. Mainstream archaeology also addresses the sudden emergence of civilization. It wasn't sudden at all. We have evidence of gradual development, proto-writing before full writing systems, early agriculture experiments before full farming, simple stone tools evolving into sophisticated implements. Each generation built on the last. The similarity between cultures? Humans everywhere have the same basic needs: shelter, food, understanding the seasons for planting. Pyramids are structurally stable, which is why they appear in multiple cultures. Astronomical observation helps with agriculture and calendar making. These aren't alien gifts, they're convergent evolution of ideas. Dr. Michael Shermer, a science historian, points out that ancient astronaut theories often rely on the argument from ignorance fallacy. We don't know how they did it, therefore, aliens. But our lack of complete understanding doesn't mean we need extraordinary explanations. So where does this leave us? After examining all three theories, what can we actually conclude? Here's what we know for certain. Ancient civilizations achieved remarkable things. The pyramids exist. The astronomical knowledge was real. The construction precision is measurable. These are facts, not theories. What we don't know is exactly how they did it. We have educated guesses, experimental demonstrations, and mathematical models. But we weren't there. The ancient Egyptians didn't leave us detailed construction manuals. Much of their knowledge was passed down orally, or written on materials that degraded over time. The ancient astronaut hypothesis faces a significant problem: lack of definitive physical evidence. We haven't found alien artifacts, spacecraft debris, or clear extraterrestrial technology. The evidence is circumstantial and relies heavily on interpretation. Every piece of proof has alternative explanations. The lost civilization theory is more plausible in some ways. We know cataclysmic events happened. We know much of Earth's surface is underwater and unexplored. But again, we lack concrete evidence of this advanced pre-Ice Age society. The underwater structures could be natural formations. Göbekli Tepe is remarkable, but doesn't prove global civilization. Mainstream archaeology has the advantage of fitting within our existing understanding of physics and human capability. It doesn't require extraordinary claims, but it sometimes struggles to fully explain the precision, scale, and similarity of ancient achievements. The honest answer is, we're still figuring it out. The good news? We're discovering more every year. LiDAR technology is revealing hidden cities beneath jungle canopies. Underwater archaeology is exploring sunken coastlines. DNA analysis is rewriting our understanding of human migration and contact between ancient peoples. Perhaps the truth is more nuanced than any single theory. Maybe ancient humans were more ingenious than we give them credit for, but also learned from cultures we haven't discovered yet. Maybe some anomalies are misinterpretations, while others remain genuinely mysterious. Why does this debate matter today? Because it shapes how we see ourselves and our place in the universe. If ancient astronaut theories are true, it means we're not alone and never have been. It means extraterrestrial life not only exists, but has taken an interest in humanity. That has profound implications for how we approach space exploration and the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. If lost civilizations existed and were destroyed by catastrophe, it's a warning. Advanced societies are fragile. Climate change, asteroid impacts, or other global events can erase everything we've built. It makes preservation of knowledge and preparation for disasters more urgent. And if mainstream archaeology is correct, that's perhaps the most empowering conclusion. It means that human beings, working together with simple tools and determination, can achieve the impossible. Our ancestors built wonders that still stand millennia later. What could we accomplish? Just last year, archaeologists discovered a massive network of ancient cities in the Amazon using LiDAR, settlements that may have housed millions of people we never knew existed. The past continues to surprise us. New evidence emerges constantly. The conversation isn't over. So, did aliens visit ancient civilizations? We've examined the evidence for extraterrestrial contact, lost human civilizations, and conventional archaeology. The truth is, we don't have a definitive answer yet. And maybe that's okay. The mystery is what keeps us searching, questioning, and discovering. Here's my final thought. Whether built by humans alone, survivors of a lost civilization, or with extraterrestrial help, these ancient monuments represent something profound. They represent the human drive to create something that outlasts us, to reach for the stars, to understand our place in the cosmos. That drive is still in us today. We're still building, still exploring, still asking the same questions our ancestors asked when they looked up at the night sky. What do you think? Are we alone, or did someone visit our ancestors? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you want to dive deeper into ancient mysteries, check out our video on the Antikythera mechanism, Ancient Greece's Impossible Computer, where we explore another technology that shouldn't exist. If you enjoyed this investigation into history's greatest mysteries, hit that subscribe button.